Hello, I'm Ginger.
And I'm Tori.
We're two black girls navigating adulthood while trying to make this shmoney.
Our goal is that this podcast will help you realize that you are not alone on your journey to achieving your dreams.
Each week, there will be a new podcast where we talk about lifestyle,
self-fulfillment,
and achieving your goals. Now let's begin.
Good morning, guys. Hey, thank you guys for joining us again on the podcast. Again, I'm Tori.
I'm Ginger.
And today we're going to be talking about trusting in God. And really what that means to us, our relationship, how it's changed over the years, and things that we have learned.
Yes. So. I think, as we talked in our previous podcast, these past few years of life has just been such a whirlwind. And our relationship with God has transformed because of that. My relationship with God was kind of going different directions anyway before, but now I think I really have gotten a focus, considering all the crazy that 2020 was. So yeah, trusting in God, and I'm very excited to talk about that today because many times we have to trust in God, especially when we don't understand what's going on, what's happening, why things are happening, why we don't have this or that. So it's like really a good topic for this time. So what are ways that you trust in God, Tori? Trusting in God.
Shoot. For me, a big thing about trusting in God is making sure that my anxiety doesn't overtake my prayer. So when I pray about something, I already said it. God heard me. He knows what I'm thinking. He knows everything about me. So once I pray, God, I want to take care of my loans. I don't want to be financially free. That's what I want to do. I don't need to keep asking him again and again. I don't know. It seems like I want to trust God so much that I know that he heard me the first time and I don't have to feel like I'm begging, because God doesn't want us to beg. He doesn't give us scraps, so there's no need to beg. So that's my big thing about trusting in God.
I feel that because I'll pray for something, and then I'll pray for it again, and then I'll pray for it again, and then I'll be like, Lord, just to make sure that you heard me, let me just tell you one more time, So I tend to do that a lot. I'm like, okay, Lord, I need finances. And then it'll be the next day, I need finances, Lord. Lord, did you hear about, I need finances, Bank's calling, I need finances. So I go through so many different the same prayer on different days about anything from finances to school and all that. But like you said, God heard us the first time we said it. And I guess once we have told him, Lord, this is what I need. This is what I'm asking for. It's like we have to put faith behind that. So I think like they say, without faith, it's impossible to please the Lord. Yep. Once you ask him, we have to have faith that, in him, that he's going to work it out and that he's going to do it. And we have to trust in him. And because he's God, he has everything figured out, more than we do. So really taking that into consideration, trust is something that we can all do better because we all want to play God and be God. Sometimes I'm like, I am a control freak personally. I want to have control over everything. I want to do everything. And so I have to relinquish control and let him do some things. So yeah, Trust is most important for sure.
Yeah.
and
I think, for me, I think another part of trusting God is understanding that, God shows his love daily through just allowing me to wake up this morning. I have my family, my friends, I have Ginger, and I think, love is a verb and God is always doing it. And I need to make sure that I'm also showing my love through action and daily, prayer, giving time to God in the morning. That's really important. I just want to give God, well, there's no way I can give God the same as he gives me, but just to put in my part.
I feel it. Also, too, I've been getting out of the habit of scrolling on social media the first thing in the morning. I feel like when you wake up, the first thing you do is like pull up social media. Let me check my comments. Let me check my likes. Let me see. And sometimes I'm guilty of doing that too. Let me see what the business has done today. Let me check. And I'm just, and I want to make sure that I'm not putting anything before God, because I call myself like first thing when I wake up I want to hustle, right? But it's just like, no, first thing when you wake up you need to put, you need to have your mind focused on God, and that gives you the utmost peace, which is something I'm reaching for. My dad always says, seek ye first the kingdom and all else will be added. Of course, like he has these scriptures and all these different sayings, and I'm really trying to internalize that and seek the kingdom first in the morning, and then the rest of my day will fall into place. So that is definitely something I'm working on and I'm improving on. And we all know that like none of us are perfect. Like we're all figuring it out. We're all trying to get it together. But that's a very crucial point, is that you have to put God first, and you have to align yourself in the morning and align your focuses. So for sure. And I also love too how you talk about like love, and how you said loving others, and how love is an action verb, and that we do have to show love to God, love to others, and love to ourselves. Before this podcast, Tori and I had a conversation about like taking time for yourself, because we do so much stuff, and we're actually going to have a podcast later where we're talking about self-care and what we're doing for self-care, but that trusting in God is a form of self-care. Because it releases your mind, and it's something I know I want to get better at for sure. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. So reaching for that.
Well, then, based off of like what God has done for us, or what it means to trust God, what are some ways that God has shown out? Because I got a long list, but what are some ways that God has shown out for you?
Oh my gosh, when do I start? From the day I was born, or do I? No. I think one of the most, like, the biggest things, I guess, was my college journey for sure, that he showed out throughout my entire education. When I graduated high school, I didn't know where I was going to school at. I was looking for a 4-year university. They didn't want to give me no money. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no money. What am I supposed to do? And so I ended up going to community college, and I didn't want to go at first. I'm just like, community college, I don't know, I don't know. And because I like heard so many things, like community college is not, it's just like a second high school. It's not really full-fledged college, all those kind of things. That's what I, was hearing from people. But I went to community college, and it was amazing. I felt like it was so perfect for me to build my confidence and to save money, while also like learning and really taking in and just being in such a like group of people. I was with moms and grandmothers and people my age, and so I thought that was a real blessing from the Lord to be around people that were uplifting. It wasn't competitive. We weren't competing for something. We weren't against each other. Everybody was there to help, and that was an environment I thrived in. And that's the kind of environment I thrive in, is an environment with community and love and help and support. And I think that just God was totally in that situation. So from there to going to my 4-year university and being in a situation where, I was nervous at first, but I was with professors that were amazing, all the way up to, I was worried about getting my job after college. Remember, I was freaking out. I'm like, but God like showed out through that. Like he's shown out so many different times, but, in college for sure, that was definitely, these past 5 years that I've been in school has definitely been a godsend, that he has taught me so much. I've had a lot of adversity too, but I realized that it helped me grow, and I'm just very happy that I experienced that, and that he pushed me to grow, and now I'm the person I am today, and I just hope to continue to grow. So what are ways that God has shown out for you?
Too many to count. But two big ones that I can think of is, I remember when I was really little, I told my mom that I wanted to go to Paris. And she was like, okay, baby. I wanted it for my birthday. And she was like, okay, well, maybe not this time, but sure, someday. And I was like, I don't know. I'll just say 6. Little did I know that maybe 7 years later, or whenever I was in high school, like our sophomore year, I think, or the before, I found out about this program, and they had a trip that they were going to 7 European countries, and I was like, ooh, I want to do this. But it was like, it cost thousands of dollars. And I remember my mom, she was like, I could tell she knew that she probably could not do it. And she didn't really want to tell me, but I knew, of course. So I just knew that, I'm not going to be able to go. That's fine. Girl, like, the time was leading up to, like, the first payments would have to be due. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to go. And then God blessed my mom with, like, $2,000. I was like, okay, this money for the trip. But, I'm not going to be able to go. Mm-hmm. Then, slowly but surely, God blessed us to have the money that we needed for the trip. Girl,
that's amazing.
I was like, I had to sit down. I was like, word? God, you moving fast like that?
Yeah.
Like, it was just crazy. And when I got off the plane and I realized I'm on another continent.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. On the bus, you could see the mountains. And it was gorgeous. And it just looked like God was there. I don't know. That really stood out to me, to think that I wanted to go to Paris. I prayed on it as a little girl. I prayed on it as a young adult, or towards young adulthood, and God made it happen. I was like, awesome. Word. I tell you, every time I think about that. And then another one, my second big thing, out of the thousands and billions of other things,
I'm telling you,
licensure in college. I was worried about paying for things. I was going to be in a lot of debt, and God blessed me to reconnect. Well, it's my mom's work friend, but she knew about a job opportunity that would allow me to work on the weekends, and it wouldn't be every weekend. And the place that I was able to work at, the Ronald McDonald House, was by my school.
That's awesome.
I was like,
oh,
word. Girl. And then I was able to save that money.
I heard that.
When things happen, I have money. I can help my mom a little bit. I was like, whoa.
Well, since we're talking about God showing out about jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's everything from like the beginning to now. Is that, so I was like, Tori, I need a job. I was applying for everywhere. Like, I was in California, New York. I was in Chicago. I was here. I was there. I was everywhere. Like, I was applying for every place that I could, right? Every location, every state, here, just everywhere. Like, I need a job. You know what I mean? I need a job. I want to start getting financially independent. I'm trying to rake in my first source of income, I'm like, I got to get started. And, like, I was applying for jobs, and I was applying. And this missionary in my church, she was like, what happens every time you get to these transitions in your life? And I was like, well, tell me what happens. She says, you always, work, try to find a way. And then what happens, Ginger? She says, once you stop and you've given up and you've taken your hand off of it, that's when God starts to move. Because you've relinquished control. Yeah. You stop trying to control everything. You stop trying to make everything work yourself, and you trust in Him. And so that happened. I was like applying for jobs, right? And then I was like, oh, I'm tired. I said, Lord, I'm not applying for no more jobs. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, because looking for a job is a full-time job. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just exhausted. And then someone I knew was like, hey, there's a job opportunity opening up at this school. And I was like an opportunity. I wasn't even looking at that school, right? I didn't even know the opportunity existed, but it was brought to my attention. I was like, okay. So, I talked to the administration at the school, everything. Like, they reached out, and we, I got my application in. I went through the application process, all those kind of things. But it's just like, I ended up getting the job. And it's funny because it just felt like that, like I was a perfect fit for that job. I gelled with the administration very well. And also, too, it's like 10 minutes away from the crib. I was like, you for real? like, and the job was like, it's in a good location. I like the school. I like the message of the school. And so I feel like that was such a godsend, because I feel like God literally sent that opportunity to me. And I'm very so grateful. And I'm like, Lord, I'm going to be working, my tail off at this school. I'm going to be putting out posters and everything. We're going to be having this. So I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'll be teaching music. So I'm a music teacher at an elementary school. So woohoo! So I thought that was that was just a godsend opportunity, and won't he do it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he knows the plans he has for you. So, but God, he be out here clowning, don't he? He be out here clowning, And speaking of him out here clowning, we talking about debt and money and pricing and everything. I sent this quote to Tori last night about, like, Lord, why still gotta pay these bills when you paid the ultimate price?
Girl, that tickled me.
So, oh my goodness. I'm happy, like, Lord, thank you for the financial blessings, but why we still gotta pay these bills, Lord? Because he paid the ultimate price on the cross. But, it's cool. But yeah, so I definitely, he shows out all the time, man. And I think that it makes us want to strengthen our relationship with him, So let's talk about how can we strengthen that relationship with him, so, like, we can have more trust in him and he can continue to show out in our lives. So,
I mean, kind of what we mentioned before, just making sure we put him first in all things. And also make sure that we include other people in our relationship with God. Because, just like when someone is important to you, or you meet your boo thing and they're important to you, you want to introduce them to your family, your friends, people you care about. Why wouldn't you do that with God? Because I know Ginger, girl, I'm so proud of her in various ways. But also, I'm so happy to hear that you and your boo are making sure that God is included in your relationship. And that's so important.
Yeah.
Like, why would you?
And I think it's just so important to include God in our relationships. With the person I'm with right now, like, we're trying to include God in many ways that we can. Like, I try to give him scriptures and quotes, and I got him on my little Bible app, and I'm just like, we can get on a Bible plan together, because if we want to do this long term, like, we can't do this long term with just us. We're humans. We're gonna say things, we're gonna do things, and we need extra reinforcement. We need Gorilla Glue. Like, we can't be just sticky tape. And I think it changes the dynamic of the relationship, because then you think, how can I talk out of love to this person? You know what I mean? How can I just make this work? And I think, like I say, WWJD, what would Jesus do? When I'm approaching a situation with him, and I try to do this with my parents and people that I'm talking to, I'm like, okay, how would God see me if I treated them a certain way? If I, you know what I mean? Like, I always think about how do I look to God? Because he's not looking at our face. Tori and I, we cute. We out here. We look good, but it's just like the Lord is not looking at our face. He's looking at our soul. He's looking at our heart. What does your heart look like? And so I try to focus on taking that approach. And I'm not perfect. I make my mistakes, but I'm trying to, how can I be more like him? How can I show love? How can I be compassionate? How can I be patient? Because I think patience is something I'm really working towards. But yeah, definitely including him in all your relationships. And I really want my relationship, like, with God, to just be so consistent and so solid and so together. You know what I mean? Like, I just want it to be so solid, like you said, that I don't let my anxiety or my fears run me, but I let prayer and, and faith and trust in him run me. Like, that's what I reach for. So, like, rather than me reaching for what I'm used to, being anxious, being, oh my gosh, being frantic, I can reach for him, So that's that's how I want my relationship to look like. What do you think, Tori? Like, what is
And
something you aspire
really,
for.
yeah. And that question kind of reminds me of this story I heard. This woman, she was in the hospital, right? And her children wanted her to build a relationship with God, to get to know Him, get saved before she happens to pass, if she were to pass, right? And she was in the hospital, and when one day her kids went to visit her, and she was talking to an empty chair. She was just talking to them, and little did her kids know that she had asked God for forgiveness, and she spoke to God like she was talking to her friend in a chair. And I want that. I want it to be second nature. I want to talk to God like He is my friend, because He is my friend. Because even when it feels like I'm alone, I always got God. That's what I want it to be, a knee-jerk reaction.
I 100% agree. I had this woman in my church. She used to always say, "God, that's my road dog. He's so cool." And like,
Girl.
you know, because you have some people, they have this like ancient innocence mentality of God. Like, God is a God of today. He's not a past, you know, God that used to operate, you know, just 10,000 years ago, and now where is He? You know, it's not that. God is a God of modern times. Like, he's not, you know, He doesn't change, but He's also not like old school, if that makes sense. So when she was like, God is so cool to me, He's my road dog, you know, and we rode together, and He's my best friend, and I just love the way she spoke about the Lord. I just love the way she was like, you know, He's just her best friend, and that she loves Him, and that they're so close. And I'm like, I want that to be my connection. You know, I want to like joke with Him and laugh with Him, and you know, and just have this best friendship with Him. You know, to be so close and so connected that I don't move or I don't do anything without, you know, hearing from Him first. You know, that I want to be like this, you know, with Him. And so I really that's what I want my relationship to look like. And I think also too, with having a relationship with God and loving God, we can't talk about that without talking about, like you said, loving others too, right? Because like, you can't just keep that relationship to yourself. I mean, you have your own intimate relationship with Him, but you also have to be willing to share and tell others about the good news, you know, as they say, the good news. And I think that's so important, to share with other people, to uplift other people, to show them that like, hey, you're not alone. And that's another thing about not being alone, because I feel like that, especially these first few podcasts, our theme is that, you know, we're young adults trying to get out here, figure stuff out, from finances to, you know, self-care to spirituality and everything, and that, you know, we're not alone. We have each other, right? We have you guys, the listeners on the podcast. You know, me and Tori have each other, but also too, we all have, you know, someone who is greater than all of us, who has all these answers, who is our biggest supporter, you know. And so I love that about Him, that He is such a supporter. He's such a gentleman. Like, He's not, you know, He's just a supporter. I just love Him so much. And I just hope that I can trust Him so much more. So yeah. So that's, you know, it just makes me happy.
And you know what? Okay. I've just been thinking about, okay, you remember that, I don't know if you've seen the little video of the little boy, he's walking his way to school, cute little boy, and he said his little mantra that his parents had taught him. Oh, I forgot what it was. Oh my gosh. I used to play that every day. God, I forgot it. But there's also this little girl, and I say this whenever I feel scared, that I feel weak. I say, my God is so big and so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. And that little girl was saying that. I said, I need to have the faith of that little baby. She was trying to get a shot at the doctor's office, which I can understand.
Yes. And you know, we have so many high expectations for what we want our relationship to look like. I think one of the most important things is to really have solid plans, you know, and solid, like, you know, I know that I want to get closer to God. and I know that I want to, reach for him, and like you said, be second, like have him as second nature. But like, how can we do that? What are some like practical, like everyday ways, that we can do that?
I would say, I mean,
I know one of the ways I was thinking. So like I actually have a Bible app. And so I have this Bible app that I use, and it's like it's just a little app on my phone. It's like, YouVersion Bible. If you're listening to us, hey, the people that are over there. But it has plans and scriptures, and it's a verse of the day. My mom and I, we use it together. So my mom is like, did you read your verse of the day? And it has like, okay, so you know how Instagram has stories, right? And you can like click on the Instagram stories. This Bible app has like stories. So like the verse of the day could be anything, right? You would click open story, like you click open story at the top, and like it goes through it shows you the verse of the day, gives you a little image that you could send to people with the verse of the day. It gives you like somebody, right? Man, woman, child, anybody. Like it gives you different people every day that speak on that verse, right? They'll say like, okay, today's verse of the day is blah, blah, blah. And, we have to really make sure we do this and the other. And it's some of everybody, all, shapes, sizes, walks of life, everyone, right? That give their insight and thoughts and everything on that verse of the day. Then it'll give like another little interactable thing. Like, here's the prayer that you can use for the day. Lord, help me, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's a whole story. So if you don't have time to like, you got to get running, you can do that and just click play and it'll play through. And it's excellent. And I love that you can play it in all languages. Like all languages, you can highlight in it. It's very interactive. And you can share it with friends too. Like I can invite anybody through email to join me on the app, and we can do like lessons, like plans together. There are plans from everything from love to anger, all of those kinds of things, it's really awesome. And like I just really love it. So YouVersion, hey, look, we're supporters. But I think
I'm gonna have to download it.
It's very nice. Oh yeah, it's very nice, and I love it. I really love it. I would love to partner with them one day, because I just really, let me read the verse of the day. Let me give some insight on the verse of the day or something. I would love that. But it's so nice. And I love it because it's so interactive. They have the King James version to the new version, like to every language. And what I love about the plans, it reminds you can set a timer. It reminds you of the plan every day. And it gives you a devotional, right? Like somebody, talking about it, speaking on it. And then it gives you the scriptures. And it's amazing. And sometimes it'll give you multiple scriptures. It'll give you maybe one devotional, one scripture, and a prayer. I just recently finished a 30-day plan about facing the giant of fear. That's actually the name of it, facing the giant of fear. And it was 30 days. It gave me a devotional every day. It gave me a prayer at the bottom, and then it gave me my scriptures to go with it. And when you get done, it checks off the boxes for you, right? And then it says you completed the plan. Boom, check the box, and then it checks off that day for you. And then it'll tell you, okay, you get a preview of what tomorrow is. It's excellent. I really, really love it. And it's so nice because I have it on everything. My computer, my phone, all my devices. I have it on everything. And it's great because I've even done some plans with people from school where they'll invite me, Ginger, come join this plan on worship, or come join this plan on love, on friendship. They have friendship plans, romance, everything. I'm just like, I'm an advocate. YouVersion, please, I really want to work with you guys. Reach out to me. I love the app. It's excellent. I really, when I tell people like, hey, do you read the Bible? Do you read, any scriptures? There are scriptures for this and that. I recommend them to that app because it's quick, it's easy, it's user friendly, and so interactable. It's really great. Like you can pull it up so easy, and it reads to you. Like you can click play, they will read to you. You don't even have to, if you're moving around, like how you listen to an audiobook, click play, it'll read all the scriptures for you, it'll read your whole plan for you. So that's me. That's my 2 cents of the day. Download, it's Bible YouVersion, right? Like YOU version, VERSION. Yep, the YouVersion Bible app, and it's I love what they're doing with that app. It's really revolutionizing the way I read the Bible, and it's fantastic. So yeah, so that's my
really
thing
cool.
there.
That's
So
cool.
that, and I think it's very important to have something that, you know, like I'm really, like, I get real passionate when I talk about it, and it just like it's showing me that it's really working, because I'm like, I want to read these scriptures, I want to get into it, and I want to, I'm excited about my next plan, 'cause I just finished that plan today, so I'm excited about my next plan to get started on. So it's nice. It gets you excited about reading the word, it gets you excited about reading the Bible, and it's like, and it's practical. It's not like, it doesn't talk, they don't like speak on God like he was 10,000 years ago. And I think sometimes that can be a turnoff, like that God is a God of today. He is a God of 2021, he is not ancient and in the past, and, he doesn't understand. No, you can use everything that is in the Bible today, and there are people that are willing, will guide you through plans of how to use, God in today's world, with all the things that we have going on, how to use God in social media. So many plans. So that, and then also having a little routine, scheduling, chunking out some time. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So
I'm looking to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I usually just like use Pinterest to look at different Bible plans, but in the morning I really like, as soon as I wake up with crust in my eyes, I roll over and I just pray and I thank God for the day, for waking up, and then I just have my Bible next to my bed, because I kind of have to do it in the morning, because if I don't, I probably won't do it. So I just wake up, pray, and then I have my Bible by my bed, and I just read, because I kind of just started off, I just wanted to read the whole Bible. I started off with Genesis, and I'm just going to read to the end. I'll probably do maybe a chapter every day.
Also too, there's a plan, because my mom, she's going through reading the Bible in a year multiple times, so she's doing it again. She just restarted, actually, and the YouVersion Bible app has a read the Bible in a year thing. So they do Genesis, and then they'll do Matthew, and they'll go through all of Genesis and still be in Matthew, because they're more Old Testament than New Testament. And so it'll do that. So there's a plan for that as well. But I think that it's important to find what works for you, because for me, the digital Bible, it's fantastic, but some people want the paper, they want the book, because it's nothing like flipping over pages, But I would say this too. You can find your own way to do that, but also my mom, because my mom, she tries it she said there's no excuse, she tries it in every different way. She'll get the scriptures and she'll write them down, and then she'll go and read them in her Bible. She's like, I want to read in the physical Bible, but I love this plan that they have me on. I love that they are, how they have it mapped out. So she doesn't she just takes how they map it out, write it down, okay, today I'm reading these chapters, this book and this book, and then go to her physical Bible and start reading it in the physical Bible. And so she'll do that, and then she can sit there and listen to it, and she can go to her physical Bible and read it. So, whichever way you want to do it, but taking that time for him is so important, and it's something I want to do more of. I want to take more time for him. I feel like we never can take enough time for him. We always have to put him first. So that, if note cards are always good, writing the scriptures out on note cards. It's just so many different things to do. Having that quiet time, it's just, I feel like we can really ramble on and on about everything that you can do. I wanted to start reading my Bible so bad, I signed up for a newsletter called Desiring God, and they send me an email every single day. They send me an email every single day with a new chapter, a new focus. And so I got my email today. It's called Desiring God. I'll have to get the official link and everything, but it's wonderful. And I'll leave the description and the link and all that on our YouTube page, in our description box. I'll put it there, and I'll put it in our social media for this particular conversation. If you guys want to access those resources, I'll link all of those in all the description boxes everywhere on all platforms where we are. And yeah, so there are so many different things that you can do, from getting an email in the morning, like Tori said, turning over, having your Bible next to you, so it's the first thing that your mind is on, having the Bible app that gives you motivation in the morning, throwing it into your Google Calendar and letting it remind you. So there's just so many ways to set time for him, so many ways to set time for him. I think that we could really go on for everybody, but yeah, so many ways to set time for him. So the best advice I can give is you must have your own relationship, right? Not your mom's relationship, not your dad's relationship, not your aunt, not your grandmother's relationship, because a lot of times, well, in the past, I'll speak for me, that I'm like, my parents are praying for me. That's good. Fantastic. Thank you, parents. You're praying for me. Wonderful. And wouldn't do nothing myself. I'm old enough now, I have to have a relationship with God for myself, because I'm dealing with things on my own, things that I have to learn how to work through. My parents have their own things that they have to work through. So I can't, although they still pray for me and I pray for them, you have to pray for yourself. You have to, reach out to God for yourself. He wants a relationship with you, not just your mom, your dad, or whoever else. He wants a relationship with you. So you have to reach out, and he's a gentleman. He's not going to bust down your door and say, I'm God, I'm coming in, where you at, You have to open the door, you have to knock. And that's important. Have your own relationship with him. Figure out, what your relationship with him looks like. Your relationship with him is not going to look like everybody else's relationship with him. Like, mine's, it's just different. People speak to him in different ways. Like, the woman in my church, that's her road dog. That's what she refers. God's my road dog. For me, God's my best friend. For you, God's a father, a comforter, a brother. Whatever you need, a mother. God is whatever you need. And another one, I love getting into like the readings and also movies. There's a movie I love called The Shack.
Oh, yeah, that's my mom's favorite movie, boy.
That's excellent. Do you want to talk about it a little bit about The Shack?
I haven't watched it.
Oh my gosh, it is wonderful. Okay. Let me tell you, if you are somebody that has been done wrong, or if something has happened in your life that has hurt you, or in general, if you need if you're trying to learn forgiveness, that movie is incredible. Forgiveness, or just learning about God, it's excellent. It's definitely a conversation starter, right? It might not give you every single last little, thing ever, but it's so nice. I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody who has not seen it, but it is just a really good movie to watch. It's called The Shack, right? And it shows God in so many different ways. At one point, it shows God as a father, shows God as a mother. So in the movie, it turns God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit into physical people of different ethnicities, right? And shows that God is not just, a God of one, a God of, this, that, and the other, but God is God of all. That we're all in this together, and that it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how short you are, and I could really go on forever, but yeah. And that movie, it's really nice. It really breaks those barriers of, we see, that traditional, so to speak, outlook of God, right? That God only looks like this, right? That God, is who you need him to be. He doesn't have one look, one style, one this, one that. He's a God of the universe. He's a God of all the galaxies. He's a God of the entire world, of everybody. He's an advocate for everyone. So, and I love that. And my last little tidbit on that too is, get you some music.
Yeah.
Also as well.
Yes.
So
yes, music is
go ahead, speak to music, Tori. Do you listen to, what's your spiritual uplifting songs for you?
Really, I have a lot of music that I listen to, but I think that when you're watching movies and you're listening to music, I think sometimes it seems like people can keep God and the secular world separate. And I think that if you really want to build your relationship with God, you need to take down that division and incorporate it. Listen to some music, because what you consume visually and audio wise, that really impacts your life. I think listening to that music in the morning, gospel music, things that really get you pumped and also help you reflect is really important. And I think I want to make sure that I'm the person who I talk about God in public without like worrying about what other people think. I want to be like that MMA fighter. I don't know if you saw the video. He was talking to the little reporter going over his fight he won, and he said, first of all, I gotta thank God before I talk to man. He said something like that. I was like, oh, so you talking to God in public. It's like, it's a different type of relationship when you talk about him in public with people who don't have a relationship with God. That's a whole different thing. That's what I really mean.
Yeah, I hear you. Music is also so important. I'm a musician. I love music, but also you don't even have to be a musician to appreciate good music. But I love, one of my people that I really enjoy listening to is Kirk Franklin. I feel like he has revolutionized gospel music. You know, I think him, Kiki Sheard, Mary, like they really have changed. Like they have R&B gospel, hip hop gospel, rap gospel. It's just and it's not. I think for everyone to just break away from that box of what we think, is God. We think God is this, and why, if he is, like, if God is this big, why do we make him this small?
Yeah.
Why do we only make him, he's only this, he's only one, there are so many different ways to worship him. There are so many different ways to have a relationship with him. And I love listening. Like me, like I can easily bump some. I don't know if you know Ty Tribbett. Like he has like rap gospel, and I get crunk in the car. I'm like, God will, Oh, that's my jam. I get hype on that, and then I can still, saying, Jesus loves me. Like I could do all of it.
Yeah.
Like, so you can really, some days I'm sitting there, in solitude, and then some days I'm pumped, I'm in my gold chain. Like, my God, like I can do all of that. So I think, and
Yes.
I'll say this, and this is one of the last things I want to say is that I just I love how, like, when people make God fun, because God is not like this boring being that's sitting on a throne. Let me operate the world, and he's deep. I mean, he is, but it's not like that. He's like that. He's not fun. That he can't have a laugh. That and it's like I just love, like I said, Kiki Sheard and her song. Like they just make God fun. That he's just so cool, and that he's just so fun, and that he's just that you don't have to be like boring and sitting in a corner to worship God. I mean, everybody now. If you are the type of person that you want that solitude, you want that seriousness, there's nothing wrong with that. This is not me saying, oh no, don't worship him. Find what works for you. But you know what I'm saying? God is not a one, verse God. That there's so many different, I keep saying that, but it really is true. Like there's just a multitude of ways to worship him, and God is fun. God laughs. He's fun. You can get excited about him. Exactly. To deal with us? Oh. If he didn't have humor, he'd be crying, because we be some fools down here on this earth. So, just having fun, that it is fun to worship God, that it's not boring. Trust me, it is not boring. Your life is not boring. It gets pumped up over here, okay? So, yeah, man. I just love that about him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And speaking of music, I forgot, the shirt that I have on is actually from a song from a radio station my mom likes. They're a little low key, so I gotta switch up sometimes. But I forgot the singer, but it says, a waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. And that is one of my crying songs. When I come on, I'll be like, God show is a waymaker. I'll be tearing up. Yeah. But I really love it.
I feel it. Yeah, I love that. Speaking of songs that tear up, that make you tear up, there's this song by Kirk Franklin. It's with Kirk Franklin. It's with Donnie McClurkin. It's called The Blood Song.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's like, it doesn't
girl.
matter what color you are, as long as your blood runs red. Oh, like if you want me to be in a room, like, he's a great God. Like, if you want me to be in a room, like, bawling, play that song. I promise. We did a praise dance to that song because I was over my praise dance at my church before, everything happened. And, like, it was such a good song because it's like they had a girl singing in Spanish, like, in that song. It was amazing. I loved it. And it's like, one of the highlights, it says, like, every Sunday we separate and bring the Father pain. And it's just like how we get, like, we put all this division on him. Like, we are all worshiping
Girl.
one God, man. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
everybody has different names, but we are all worshiping, like, this one amazing God and this amazing Savior. And it's just like, I just want to, like, put that out there. It does not matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how tall. It just doesn't matter, and that's a whole nother conversation, right? But I feel like it is so trivial to fight about things like skin color, to fight about things like appearance, to fight about, things like, am I, your denomination and all those kind of things. Those things don't matter. What matters is your relationship with God, loving him, loving others, being kind, right?
Yes,
being
and
respectful.
compassionate.
Yes. And it's not like,
And it really being compassionate though.
Yes, go ahead.
Because
Speak
like
to that.
one of my favorite sayings is like, you can't call it compassion. Wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, the saying is you can't call it compassion if you don't freely give it to someone. If you're worried about like, oh, yeah, I could be nice to them, but they did this. That's not compassion then. If you don't freely give it, that's something that like when I heard that, when I tell you I had to pause. That's so important. If we really realize that you don't get to choose who you get to be nice to. You have to be compassionate.
Yes, you have to love everyone, love on your friends, and love on those who are not your friends. Love on your adversaries because they be hurting too. And it's funny because I had someone who I feel like was an adversary, and I had to change my approach. Right, I was just like, this is a human being who's hurting, and it was the toughest thing I ever did in my life. I gave, like, and everybody's different, right? You have to assess the situation for yourself, right? This is what I did. Assess the situation for yourself. I literally, like, I used to pray for her and everything. And, like, one day, like, she bursted into tears on my shoulder. And, like, I just hugged her. And I was just like, oh, my God. And this was an older woman, too. And I was just like, oh, my goodness, and it, like, made me realize, I don't know if she changed. That's not my job to dictate. My job was that I was there when she needed somebody. I didn't leave her, hanging. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, and I just, it was an interesting, it was just so interesting. But I think that being there, even for people who might not always be, does it make any sense?
Say it again.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, because it's cutting out for me. So, yeah.
It's cutting out a little bit for me. It's been cutting out, but I just be like,
it's fine. I'm just gonna say this because we can cut, because this is like, it was kind of cutting out for me before, so we can cut all that out. But we'll start here. So I'm gonna we'll start here. Okay, but like showing compassion and love to everyone, even the people that might not always be in your corner. It speaks to you, being a spiritual person and being someone that is, just showing love and compassion to others, no matter what. Because you never know what people are going through, and you never know how people are hurting, and it's a tough thing to do, but you really have to WWJD. What would Jesus do? How would Jesus treat that person? So yeah. But this was a great conversation, though.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it was important.
The moral, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Go ahead. You can wrap us. You can wrap us up.
But I think like, from our conversation today, I think the moral of the story is make sure you give God the glory and thank God for his grace, but also through your relationship with God, make sure you give yourself grace, because it's going to take time. Your relationship with God will change, but it's okay.
And it's just important that you have a relationship with God, that you stay connected, find practical ways, ways that you can really reach for him, where he can be second nature, and realize that, there's struggles in his life, but God always has your back. And and God is I just love God. He's loving, he's caring, he's compassionate, he's fun. And so that on this journey, you gotta take your time, one day at a time, for sure, because it can get crazy out in these streets. But just know he's always in your corner. So that's all I have for today. My goodness.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today on our talk about trusting God, and tune in to us for our next podcast.
Yep, I'm Ginger.
And I'm Tori. And we are I too.